Hi, Terry Vanover here, and I want to welcome you to our live discussion this week. We are going to be talking about, I've got your questions here. We're going to be talking about how to handle stress and how to leave a cheater, what to do if you cannot get over an ex who is a serial cheater. So let's talk about um, what the hell is a divorce strategist, right? So if you don't know, I am a divorce strategist. I almost want to call it a divorce navigator, right? I'm like a holistic person in this process in that I help you to navigate this process so that you don't end up being legally, financially, and emotionally devastated, but also helping you to heal from a toxic and unhealthy marriage so that you can transition confidently into that next phase of your life and find a happy, healthy relationship that you desire, that you deserve, right? So it's kind of like a holistic approach that I take when we're going through divorce. When you're going having your team, right? Like to help you make sure that you are making the best decisions possible. I want you to look back at your divorce and say, oh my gosh, like that was the darkest time in my life, but I made the best decisions that I could. And that is definitely not what I did when I went through my divorce. So that's why I do what I do, because I made all the mistakes that you can make when you're going through a divorce. Oh my God. I look back at that woman and I'm in such admiration of you. The fact that you're even here, that you're even like getting information is heads and tails above where I even was when I was going through my divorce. I don't even know who that woman was because I consider myself a pretty smart, resourceful person, and I don't know who that person was going through divorce. I feel like I was just so overwhelmed during that time that I didn't even know what to do, where to go, what to look for. And of course, that led me to a lot of bad decisions that left me homeless, that left me completely broke and financially, for a long time, I had to recover from that. Um, Lost my mom to a stroke during that time. So although she was alive, she was like incapacitated and not able to help me in any way. Um, was hit by a van, so in addition to going through a divorce with a high conflict ex, I was going through all these other traumatic events in my life and just did not know how to handle it during that time. So the fact that you're here and you're looking for information and asking questions, like I just find that like awe inspiring because it never even dawned on me to like go out there and research and get help and ask people for support and all that stuff. So someone had asked about, should I go on an antidepressant during this? So I can't answer that, and I'm not anti medication at all. But what I will say is that I wish I had the tools that I have now to help me, because you know what? Especially if you are going through divorce right now during the middle of a damn pandemic. Oh my God, I can't even imagine. It was stressful enough when the world was just quote unquote normal at that time. So if you're going through a divorce and all this other stuff, there's definitely some tools and some resources and some strategies that I'd love to share with you so that you don't have to necessarily go on antidepressants, or at least you can minimize that. Because if you're like me, I'm a very health conscious person and I want to try everything else that I can, other alternatives, before I'd have to go on a medication. Like if I would had to, let's say I had high blood pressure, I'd want to make sure that I had a really good diet. I had was working out and losing weight, and trying to manage that the best that I could holistically without relying on medication if possible. So I'm not saying I'm anti antidepressants or anything like that. I'm just saying, hey, let's look at some other things first and see if that puts you in a better position. Because I, again, full transparency here, I went on an anti-anxiety medication. I was so overwhelmed. And I mean, I was like a shit show, y'all. I was like crying. I could not function. I almost lost my job, which was probably the only good thing that I had going for me at that time. I had a great job. I had good medical insurance. I had insurance for my kids. So it was the only stable thing that I had going on at that time. And, but I was, good Lord, a hot mess would be an understatement. And so a coworker said, "Oh my God, you got to get this together, sister. Go get help." And so I went to some random doctor that I'd never been to before and have never been to since. And she prescribed medication. Um, and so, I was taking this medication or whatever. And it was a few months later, I don't remember when, but I went to see my OBGYN. And my OBGYN was someone that I had trusted for years and years. He delivered all my babies. He was just really pragmatic man, just a wonderful, wonderful doctor, the doctor every woman wants for sure. And when he found out that I was taking this medication, I don't want to name what it is, but he flipped out. I was like, oh my God. He goes, oh my God, what are you doing? He goes, that is highly addictive. What are you doing? I was like, oh my God, doctor. Um, really surprised at his, because he's a pretty, he's pretty just like, normal average doctor, and I was like, oh, okay. He goes, those are highly addictive. I just want you to be really super careful. And I didn't know that, because the other doctor didn't explain that this was addictive or the side effects or what could happen. Again, remember, I was just like tunnel vision, overwhelmed, just, oh, you want me to take this pill? I'll take it. Like whatever you told me to do, I was doing at that time because I didn't know what the hell was going on. And so I want to give my, clients the tools that they need to get through the stress. And I want to help you develop a radical, I call it radical self-care plan, right? I want you to address your mental well-being, your physical well-being, and your spiritual well-being. And we want to look at it from a holistic viewpoint and get a plan together. You have an accountability partner that helps you as you're going along this time. I have a client, and last month she was having a really, really, really difficult time. And, one of the things that I feel like I do as a coach, right? I look at myself like I am a coach, but also kind of like a good analogy for what I do is like a sports coach. A sports coach takes an athlete, assesses their strengths, and as a coach, we want to play to those strengths. We want to utilize those strengths and help you win the game and be your best on the field. And that's what I did and that's what I do, right? I coach my clients through the dark times, help them tap into their strengths. And I was telling my client, you know, remember this, and this. These are your strengths, and this is your go-to, and here's your mantra. And she would message me through the week, and I'd remind her, remember, you're doing this, and this. Like, so you've got that accountability partner. You've got someone that sees your strengths when maybe you don't see those strengths, and when the times are dark that you don't see an end, right? The game gets tough, you're losing the battle. Like, nope, we're gearing up, we're tapping into we're gonna get to the long haul, right? This is a marathon, not a sprint. So here's where we need to dig deep into those reserves. You can do it. Let's do this, and this. So I would have you guys look at your self-care. And especially, if you're a parent and you're a mom, like if you're not taking care of yourself, how can you take care of your little ones? So I don't want you to use the excuse, I don't have time, I don't have this. Like, we all have the same hours in a day, but you have to focus on using those hours to put some of that energy into you. And self-care is not just about like, oh, I'm taking bubble baths. Da, da, da. It's about like, okay, what is it that you need in your times of darkness that bring you energy, that bring you joy, that help you be your best, right? For me, it's running outdoors. I like nature, and that helps me get my grounding back. Meditation. When remote learning was going on these last couple of weeks and things were really rough around our house, I was doubling down on the meditation, doing it in the morning, doing it during the day, during the night, taking extra walks, getting outside, taking breaks, tapping into things that brought me joy, and letting stuff go, giving myself grace. Oh, okay, you didn't cook dinner today? All right. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's all right. Giving myself the compassion and grace, right? So that's a big part of it. So you really need to get a self-care plan if you're really feeling overwhelmed. And I know you are, right? If you're a single parent and you're juggling remote learning, you're juggling working, you're juggling this, man, and the pandemic on top of it, oh my God, stress right now is immense. So give yourself that compassion, give yourself that love, give yourself everything that you want, maybe from someone else. Give it to yourself, right? Parent yourself right now. Get mom yourself, parent yourself right now. So someone had asked, I've got my notes here, that's what I'm doing, I'm looking at my notes. Someone had asked about, what do we do about items and things from separation and who gets what and stuff. So those are things that if you're separated, you need to figure out, and this is where you want to be documenting, going around the house, documenting those items, figuring out the value for those items and separating those items and how you want to figure out and come to an agreement. One of the things that I give my clients in particular is this tool that helps them kind of prioritize what are my non-negotiables, what are my negotiables, what are my like need to have, what am I like, nice to have, and my things I'm just going to let go, right? So you want to be kind of figuring out what are your non-negotiables in this, what are some things you're willing to let go, where some things would be nice, but you're willing to compromise. So those are some things to think about too as you're going through your separation, and also documenting, going through the house with a camera, taking pictures of property. That's always a good idea, and coming up with the value of those things. Someone else had asked, and one of our members had asked, when should I date? Can I date during the divorce? Well, there's a lot of factors involved in that. One of the things is you might want to consult your attorney or consult your legal counsel and like what do they propose, because some judges really don't give a shit and some judges do care. So you need to figure out like legally where you stand on that. But I think even more importantly, you need to figure out if you're ready to date, because I see so many people that jump into the dating pool and they're not ready. They haven't done the inner work on themselves. And believe me, the statistics bear this out, because 70% of divorced people end up divorcing again. So you can't just blame the partner. You can't just say, oh, it's the other person's fault, because statistically something's going on. And believe me, I'm remarried. I'm a stepmom. I tell you, when you are blending families, it is way harder the second time than the first time. So I get where that 70% statistic comes from, because I would rather be hit by that van again than blend my family again. Let me just tell you, becoming a stepmom was really difficult, and navigating that process was really difficult. And but there are some tools and there's some strategies and some things that when you heal yourself and you look at your own judgments and you look at your own issues, and you're not putting that off on your intimate partner, it really makes that likelihood of success much higher. So it's really important that before you go out into the dating scene, that you do the inner work, because I believe that our intimate partners are mirrors of us. And so if you're still wounded, you're still struggling, you still have issues, you're going to attract someone at that same level. Or even worse, I've seen where people attract someone that takes advantage of that. Maybe you're a people pleaser and you don't know how to say no, and you don't know how to put up boundaries and those type of things. You're going to attract someone that takes advantage of that. And so you want to make sure that you are at your ultimate best, that you are at your highest level, and because you want to attract someone also at their highest level. So you want to make sure that you have done the work on yourself. Okay, so another question that I got today was, one of our members was talking about how she has had a really hard time with accepting the divorce. So she's struggling with the divorce, but the irony is that her ex-husband is a serial cheater. So this puts a lot of like ding, ding, ding for me. This is knocking off a lot of things for me because this tells me that this person, this member has a lot of underlying abandonment issues. Um, if it's a serial cheater, then this tells me that they haven't, and this is not something that aligns with your core values, that this is not something that you want, and you've given someone chances over and over and over again, even though you know they're just going to repeat their same behaviors. This tells me that you are afraid of being alone and you're afraid of being rejected and abandoned. And so you need to heal this within you because, again, you are just going to attract another partner that's going to continue to take advantage of those abandonment issues, or you're going to glom onto someone who is an unhealthy partner, like the cheater, and you're not going to be able to let go because of your own cycles. And I wouldn't be surprised if this manifested in your parents' relationship somehow, and somehow you are repeating this pattern. This is something I see where we just repeat our parents' relationships over and over and over in some form, where you couldn't let go despite an unhealthy partner or something like that. And also, I also feel like you haven't quite grieved yet. A lot of people don't recognize that divorce is a grieving process. And when you are going through divorce, you have to go through the cycles of grief. You have to go through anger and acceptance, depression, all, and now they've thinking about adding anxiety to that cycle of grief. Um, and so you've got to get to that acceptance phase, right? You are still in the possibly anger phase because you said there's been a lot of betrayal. So you've got to overcome these betrayal issues that you're dealing with. And believe you me, betrayal trauma is one of the most I think energetically, betrayal trauma really consumes you. It makes you really angry and really bitter, and it can really poison a lot of your relationships. So if you're holding on to that betrayal, that can be poisoning a lot of your relationships. And also, if you're struggling with dealing with abandonment issues, that's probably an underlying. So you've got some multi-layered issues going on here. So for you to fully grieve, you've got to understand, what is it about me that I hung on too long? What is it? What do I need to look within and heal? And again, what's great about that is that it's a really empowering process. When you look within, you're no longer a victim to anyone else. You take back your power and you can change the patterns that you have, and you can control who you're with, and you can control your emotions, and you can control what happens around you. And it just feels so empowering. Um, Believe me, I've dealt with betrayal trauma, not from an ex-husband, but from a family member. And I will tell you, whoo, it is consuming and it feels very out of control, right? And when you come to acceptance and you come to view that person in a new light, and you come to view yourself in a new light, and understand that this has triggered something within you, and you learn how to heal that and let that go, so empowering. So some of the things that came up for me was you coming to acceptance and coming to forgiveness too. And forgiveness is really, really powerful for you, but not necessarily, it's not for the other person, right? He's never going to apologize. He's never going to give you the closure you're looking for. He's never going to do that. So you have to find acceptance and closure yourself and forgiveness within you so that you can move on. And when you do, your life will be transformed. It will be very, very powerful. Trust me on this. So listen, if you are dealing with holding on to an ex that is toxic, if you are struggling with when to know if you're ready to date again, and you want to know how to handle this divorce stress better, reach out to me. We can talk and we can figure out how to help you navigate this process better, how to heal from a devastating divorce. So I'd love to talk with you. Reach out to me. You can send me a Facebook message, and we can set up a time to talk and get you moving and get you feeling better faster. All right. Well, thanks for joining me this week. I look forward to seeing you next week, and we will talk again soon. Send me your questions, and we'll answer them live every Wednesday. I'm Terry Vanover. Feel free, if you haven't picked up my divorce survival guide, go to choosingtorise.com, Facebook message me, and we'll set up some time to talk. All right, talk to you soon. Bye bye.